Welcome to part 1 of Sovereign OS, the world's first human and community-centered socio-economic operating system. Because empathy and virtue signaling have been made into palliative-driven asset classes as opposed to curative solutions, we manage societies built upon the platform of palliative care. Because palliative equals high profits, we have now institutionalized building greater war chests of capital to manage the symptoms, as opposed to migrating to curative societies designed to find and embed cures. The next 38 minutes pulls back the curtain that the palliative parasites have been hiding behind, often in plain sight, and lays out the future of curative societies and the next step of progress for humanity. Welcome to Sovereign OS, the human and community-centric socio-economic operating system for humanity. Way too many of our cities, states and countries have hidden balance sheet problems. For decades we have been taught that social spending is an unavoidable expense, a palliative cost of managing human misery. But at Sovereign OS, we don't see a budget, we see impaired assets. We see billions in human capital locked in a cycle of non-performance. The problem: systemic friction. Every city, state and country has a systemic friction score. It is the measure of the palliative leak, the exact amount of capital being drained by broken social systems which reward containment rather than conversion. When a friction score is high, our society is stagnant, and we are paying for the management of poverty instead of the creation of prosperity. The solution: conversion, not containment. Sovereign OS is the world's first restorative operating system. We provide the architecture to identify non-performing assets, individuals stuck in the justice or welfare systems, and restructure them into performing assets. By converting just 10% of this cohort, we don't just save money. We recapture billions in direct drag and generate massive new economic throughput. We move society's balance sheets from red to green without raising a single cent in taxes. The pilot for the model in Charleston, South Carolina was so successful that the city of Charleston has named March 29th, Stuart M. Williams Day, in recognition of the impact the creator of Sovereign OS has had on the city, its organizations and residents. The sovereign choice. You can continue to manage the leak, or you can restore your sovereignty. Join the global network of sentinels. Bring Sovereign OS to your jurisdiction, and let's turn your liabilities into your greatest legacy. The palliative era of societal management is over. Adopt the sovereign choice and watch your community, city, state or country flourish again. Let's take a look at how Sovereign OS works with and helps governments. Dear President, Governor, or Your Royal Highness, we know you're frustrated. You were elected to move the needle, yet you find yourself presiding over a system that seems designed to stall. You release capital at the top, but by the time it reaches the streets, it's a trickle. You aren't failing. Your operating system is being sabotaged from the middle out. There are two lies keeping your state or country in a palliative trance. First tells the bottom that the top is greedy and uncaring. The second tells the top that the bottom is lazy and wants handouts. Both are false. The top is donating copious time and capital. The bottom is desperate to trade their innovation for dignity. So, who benefits from the lies? Look to the middle. This is the choke point. Most federal agencies, saviors, and NGOs have become masters of the soft bigotry of low expectations. They agree with both lies so they can position themselves as the only solution. They take 100% of your capital from the top, but less than 10% ever reaches the people. They aren't fixing root causes. They are pimping poverty to fund new studies, new offices, and more self-referential echo chamber-style meetings. Sovereign OS is the answer to your SOS. We bypass the gatekeepers who focus on what we need, and instead unlock what we already have. We replace the palliative choke point with an access superhighway. By creating intersections between isolated segments, we turn your communities, cities, states, and countries into curative, circular economies. We don't just spend your budget, we restructure your balance sheet. We move people from the liability column to the asset column, restoring dignity to the resident and sovereignty to the state. Bureaucracy is a 90% tax on your compassion. Sovereign OS unlocks billions of dollars of capital and uses it to create curative societies. Stop funding the choke point. Stop funding the friction. Start fueling the cure. Let's now take a deeper dive into the systemic friction score. Every nation and state on Earth is currently flying blind. They measure GDP, they measure unemployment, but they ignore the one metric that actually determines their future, the systemic friction score. At Sovereign OS, we've decoded the math of societal failure. The SFS is the measure of a country's, state's, or city's palliative leak, the exact percentage of a budget that is currently being burned to manage symptoms rather than cure causes. The SFS doesn't look at programs. It looks at the balance sheet. It measures the density of non-performing assets, the thousands of citizens currently trapped in the justice system, the education choke point, or on long-term public assistance. When an SFS is high, a society is stagnant. It is literally paying to keep people from performing. It is the most expensive subscription on Earth. Sovereign OS is the catalyst for the Great Migration. We don't just manage the SFS, we restructure it. By migrating people from non-performing to performing assets, we flip the script. We turn a $50,000 a year drag into a $75,000 a year economic driver. This is the shift from a palliative society to a curative one. The ROIs we produce are not simply unheralded percentages. They are the recapitalization of human dignity. The hard benefits are billions in recaptured capital, but the soft benefits are the real legacy. By lowering an SFS, we help reduce gun violence and end hunger and help collapse crime rates and the other effects of poverty and hopelessness. We don't do it through more awareness campaigns. We do it by recognizing that when a human being becomes a performing asset, they no longer have a reason to be a statistic. Do you know your SFS? Visit sovereignos.world right now. Look up your state. Look up your SIDS nation. See the financial ROI waiting to be unlocked. This isn't just a website. It's the future of humanity's socio-economic operating system. Data is there. The architecture is ready. The question is, are you ready to lead the cure? If so, let's take a look at the links between systemic friction scores and palliative societies. We live in a world that has turned empathy into an asset class. A world that values virtue signaling over victory. A world that knows palliative is more profitable than curative. None of this is progress. It is stagnation, with bureaucrats not wanting cures but bigger financial war chests to keep managing the symptoms. In this world, students are data points and residents are dependents. Sovereign OS flips the script. For educational institutions, it offers the first success-as-a-service model, aligning curriculum with real-world CCR performance. For students, it provides a sovereign identity, a verifiable digital asset that proves your career readiness to the world. For every resident, from the inner city to the rural heartland. They are no longer a liability to be managed, but assets to be invested in. It is time we stopped allowing people to pimp our poverty. Sovereign OS keeps your capital in your community. This is your circular economy. This is your future. Let's move to part 2. Capitalism isn't broken. The socio-economic operating system is. Empathy has become a line item on a balance sheet that is being used to bankrupt the next generation. Criminal systems have become human capital junkyards. Government budgets are no longer plans for the future, but autopsies of their failures. Today, modern business leaders and innovators are the most important people in the futurism room. Sovereign OS helps businesses because it builds the future workforce by turning the marginalized into the motivated. When companies work with Sovereign OS consultants, they aren't just doing good. They're capturing a sovereign gain that was previously invisible. By strengthening the intersections between profit and performance, we create curative societies. Sovereign OS also provides the data-rich environment impact entrepreneurs and investors have been waiting for. We identify the impaired assets in a community and provide the infrastructure for them to be recapitalized. Compassion without conversion is just a slow-motion hostage situation. We are here to rescue the hostages. Let's move to part 3. In many societies, we are no longer fixing poverty, we are franchising it. Societies where a heartfelt tweet is worth more than a hand up, and where virtue signaling is the new currency of the incompetent, and societies where we've replaced the ladder of opportunity with a hammock of institutionalization and called it progress. To the governments and NGOs tired of managing symptoms, Sovereign OS is your exit strategy from the palliative trap. It provides the tools to measure actual conversion, moving people permanently off your non-performing asset roles and into the performing asset column. To all national governments, the systemic friction in your states, cities, and your country is a threat to your national security and currency. By licensing the Sovereign OS model, you empower local sentinels to fix the broken balance sheets in place. No more extractive capital, no more institutionalized dependency, just a curative, sovereign, and self-sustaining society. It's time to upgrade the operating system of the world. The palliative era is over. We either perform or perish, and as we shall see next, we do it all in place.
We've all seen the movie. A massive global consulting firm parachutes into your city with a fleet of Ivy League juniors who can't find your town square without a GPS. They spend 6 months studying your problems, charge you $10 million in conflicted capital, and then fly away, extracting your fees, your data, and your hope, leaving you with a 400-page PDF that changes nothing. That isn't consulting. It's knowledge colonialism. These monstrous firms are the ultimate palliative parasites. They profit from your friction. If they actually fixed your balance sheet, they'd lose a client. They thrive on the managed decline of your community. At Sovereign OS, we think the idea of sending millions of dollars to a glass tower in New York or London to fix a problem in Charleston or Kingston is not just inefficient, it's insane. We're changing the future of socio-economic consulting by making the expert obsolete. Sovereign OS doesn't parachute in. We train the locals. We teach you to run the world's first human-centered operating system in place. Our consultants aren't outsiders. They are your neighbors. They start their own local firms, keep the intellectual capital in the zip code, and work on a radical shared value model. Our fees are a tool for restoration, not extraction. Sovereign OS consultants work pro bono for the schools, the prisoners, the vets, and the students. And when they do charge government and business, they don't take it all. They ask their clients to take 20% of the fee and redirect it into local funds for entrepreneurs and hubs of impact. We aren't here to bill you. We're here to recapitalize you. Knowledge colonialism is over. We're not here to give you a fish or even teach you to fish. We're here to help you own the damn pond. We are always a video call away to train and support, but the power stays with you. The saviors are leaving. The sentinels are staying. This is consulting for a curative future. Do the work yourself. Do it in place. Let's see how Sovereign OS in place includes all community segments, sectors, and stakeholders. In the old way of thinking, we solved problems in silos. We fixed a housing issue here, only to create an environmental comorbidity somewhere else. We improved one industry's efficiency, only to see a spike in unemployment elsewhere. At Sovereign OS, we know that solving a problem in isolation isn't a solution. It's just moving the pain around. We don't believe in winners and losers. Sovereign OS brings every sector, every segment, and every stakeholder of a society into the circular economy. Look at the map of a community and see the invisible threads connecting energy, agriculture, education, and commerce. Our framework is designed so that the circular economy benefits each group specifically. A manufacturer finds value in waste. A local worker finds value in new skills. A city finds value in a cleaner footprint. But here is the magic. In the Sovereign OS model, these benefits are symbiotic. When one segment thrives, it creates a slipstream that pulls the rest of society forward. We aren't just building businesses. We are building an ecosystem where the very act of doing good for yourself is what does good for the whole. It's not just a circle. It's a self-sustaining engine of prosperity. Now let's take a deeper dive into how we work with society's different sectors, segments, and stakeholders.
Modern higher education has become a high-priced subscription to a world that no longer exists. We're churning out non-performing assets with debt-funded degrees in virtue signaling, while the real world is starving for solutions. Many colleges are just palliative warehouses for the young, keeping them out of the workforce while they learn how to manage decline. We live in a world that values a padded resume over a proven result. But employers aren't stupid. They know that a degree from a credential mill doesn't mean you're ready to work. It just means you're good at following outdated instructions. We've turned the ivory tower into a choke point for human capital. In 2013, we stopped talking and started auditing. We helped design the Impact X class at the College of Charleston. It didn't just win Global Class of the Year from the ACCSB, it became the #1 class in the school because it forces students to build curative innovations. These aren't projects, they are for-profit engines designed to fix real socio-economic friction. Just to prove how popular the class is, there are now 5 of them. Proof is also coming from employers, as Impact X graduates get hired first and start with salaries 11% higher than their peers. Why? Because they aren't work-in-progress inventory. They are performing assets on day one. They don't just understand the balance sheet, they know how to fix it. Stop paying for a seat in the palliative theatre. Demand a consequential learning model that turns your tuition into sovereignty. The degree is the receipt. The Sovereign OS Impact class is the product. Let's see how Sovereign OS produces students who are the future economic engines of the societies they live in. We are currently operating our schools on a 150-year-old factory model designed to produce obedient clerks, not innovative leaders. We warehouse our children for 13 years, teaching them how to pass a test, but never how to solve a problem. The result? A massive percentage of our youth are either dropping out or graduating the diploma that is effectively a receipt for time served, totally unready for the world that awaits them. Our grade, middle, and high schools have become palliative centers for cognitive stagnation. We call it education, but it's actually the institutionalization of mediocrity. We've turned our schools into the ultimate choke point, where natural curiosity is traded for a GPA that no employer actually cares about. We're producing a generation of non-performing assets and wondering why the economy is stalling. Sovereign OS doesn't just tweak the curriculum, we replace the operating system. Designed by the visionary Jenny Whittle, the remarkable 3rd through 12th grade syllabus called Innovate to Graduate is a consequential learning masterpiece. It builds upon itself year over year, moving kids from basic inquiry to complex innovation. We don't teach them what to think. We give them the architecture of how to solve socio-economic friction. By the time they hit the 12th grade, they aren't just students, they are already performing assets. When you implement the Whittle syllabus, you stop the palliative leak before it begins. We are turning tens of thousands of young people back into the productive members of society they were meant to be. We aren't just raising graduation rates, we are raising the GDP of the next century. We must stop managing our children's decline and start investing in their sovereignty. Adopt the Innovate to Graduate syllabus because a diploma should be a launchpad, not a consolation prize. We will take a short break, then come back with more on the specific community segments we help.